we need less arena fighters. Hot take, I feel like we need more anime arena fighters, but like the problem is that we need them to be good. I think that's the difference, right? Is that most anime arena fighters that come out are bad. But like when they're good, I genuinely think arena fighters are sort of like the best way to like feel like you're in the anime. Does that make sense? You know what I'm saying? Like shout out Fighters. Like I love Fighters. I think Fighters is a great game, but like that don't give me the feeling like I'm Goku like Tenkaichi did. You feel me? Like that don't make me feel like I'm Goku like Tenkaichi does. You feel me? Or even something like Xenoverse, you know? Like I feel like arena fighters, when done well, are like very peak. And like they're very fun. And I think that's the difference, right? Like I think everybody is burnt out on arena fighters because they keep making arena fighters and they're dog shit. Like that JJK game looks bad. You feel me? My Hero is ass. You feel me? So like I feel like that's why people like feel the way that they feel. However, like some of our most highly regarded anime games of all time are arena fighters. Everybody is tripping over Tenkaichi 4 or Sparking Zero, whatever you want to call it, because it's a sequel or a spiritual successor to one of all of our favorite anime game of all time, you know, Tenkaichi 3. You feel me? Like maybe we don't need to have less anime fighters. Maybe the anime fighters they make should just start being good. You feel me? But even then, I feel like that's not enough, because even when an anime fighter is pretty decent, like nobody rocks with it like that, right? Like, excuse me, I almost just puked in my mouth type shit. Like if y'all ever played that Kill La Kill game, like this game right here, damn, my bad, that was loud as hell. But this game right here was like pretty solid, but like nobody played it. And to be fair, I feel like in this game's instance, nobody played it because it was a Kill La Kill game that came out way after Kill La Kill was relevant. You feel me? Like it kind of made no sense to make a Kill La Kill game because who the hell played this? You know what I'm saying? Like Kill La Kill was like years and years out of its relevancy cycle. Like nobody was gonna play this, but like look, this looks beautiful. Like the animation quality is really high tier, the art quality is really good, and moreover, the game was fun. The game was good. You feel me? But nobody played it. Now, imagine if we had a Bleach game that looked just like this, played just like this. Oh, I'm tweaking. Oh, I'm dead tweaking. Oh, I'm dead tweaking. Like, I want more anime arena fighters, bro. I want more of this. Because I feel like this is the best way to capture the spirit of an anime. Again, Fighters is really good. Like I rock with Fighters and all that, but like, I just prefer anime fighters for my casual shit. You feel me? My anime arena fighters for my casual shit. You feel me? Like one of my, I'm gonna stop saying you feel me. I'm getting annoyed at listening to that in my head. But one of my favorite arena fighters is actually Naruto Clash of Ninja. I don't know if you would call this an arena fighter necessarily, or like what exactly you call this.
Big 30.
Because it's more like a Tekken light kind of game. So I don't know if you really call this an arena fighter, but like even something like this, I felt like it still keeps some of that spirit of an anime game in there, right? So like this is like a fusion. This is like the precursor to Storm, you know, but like it plays a lot like a Tekken type game. You know, you have that 2.5D, that sidestepping bullshit that you can do. There was a good combo structure in this game, and it felt like, you know, it felt like I was more so in control, or it felt not necessarily in control. I don't know if that's the right word, but it felt like it just felt good to play this game. You feel me? Like I don't know if this is a hot take. But I want no more competitive anime fighters. Like, am I crazy? Like, if I would play Fighters a lot more if it wasn't a competitive 2D game. You feel me? All right, that's just the way I feel, because like the amount of work and effort they put into that is gas, and I want to be able to play that, and I want to be able to like, yo, like this is that peak, this is that gas. You feel me? Like I really want to feel like Broly. You feel me? I gotta stop saying you feel me. I'm pissing myself off listening to that shit. But you know, I don't really want every game to have to be competitive. You know, I think every once in a while is fine. Like Dragon Ball Fighters, like that's fine. You feel me? I'm gonna stop saying it from here on out. If I say it one more time, Quagsire person in the chat will get shot in the face. You feel me? I did not do that shit on purpose. I promise I did not do that shit on purpose. I promise I did not do that shit on purpose. But anyways, every once in a while, I'm down for a competitive anime fighter, right? Dragon Ball Fighters, that's fine. The Hunter x Hunter game, if that is going to be a competitive anime fighter, I'm down for that. But I don't want every game to have to be that. Like, I'm gonna be real. If there was a new Bleach game that got announced and it was a Bleach Fighters, I would probably be more upset than if it would have been like, I'd be less hype, I should say, not upset. I'd be less hype than if it was an announcement for a Bleach game in the style of like Storm or the Kill la Kill game or like Clash of Ninja or like a Soul Calibur. I guess Soul Calibur is like a competitive, you know, game and shit like that as well. So maybe not Soul Calibur is not the thing I'm necessarily thinking of, but like, you know what I mean? I want to be able to have that. There's just a difference in my opinion when it comes to like the 2D competitive fighters versus a more like casual experience. I don't want to have to play, you know, if I want to play an anime game and play as my favorite anime characters, I don't necessarily want to be forced to play in a competitive mindset. I would probably play fighters a lot more if it wasn't a competitive 2D game. Like, I don't know if this is making sense. I don't know if, like, chat, how do y'all feel? Like, let me bring up the chat on the screen. How do y'all feel? Am I going crazy? Do you guys agree? Like, let's get some discussion going here. Like, what you guys think? Like, am I crazy? Do you guys want every anime game to be a competitive fighter or like what? You can't just pick up and play fighters. You can to some degree because the game is like kind of easy to just play. However, it's definitely like not to the same level as like a Xenoverse or like a Tenkaichi or something. You know what I'm saying? Yo, Code, thank you for the prime for 37 months.
Oh my God.
Bleach makes sense for a 3D fighter. I would agree with that. Not every game, but I think competitiveness does make a game more fun to learn and play. See, the thing is, okay, outside of like this chat, right? Because obviously you guys play fighters a lot, right? But I think it says a lot about the fact that fighters sold a lot. Like the game did really well and it was a smash hit, a very big success, right? But like not a lot of people are on fighters still, you know what I'm saying? But Xenoverse 2 had 1 million players playing it last month. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like in terms of the level of motion, like I think we would all agree Fighters is a much better game than Xenoverse 2. I think everybody would agree with that. But there's a reason why more people go back to Xenoverse over Fighters. Because not everybody always wants to play like that competitive, like sweat, try hard, you know, fighting game. Sometimes motherfuckers just want to fly around doing parallel quests with their homies, doing raids, or just like creating their dream man, their dream Saiyan or whatever, you know? Like, it just feels like that. And I think I would agree to that. And I think when you make a game competitive, you actually run into a lot of problems, in my opinion, right? Because the first couple seasons of Fighters were like really good. Everybody loved Fighters those first couple seasons. But then as the game went on, they started releasing more and more characters. The state of the game balance started to get warped and twisted and broken. And now, because the game is so lenient on that competitive aspect, when the competitive shit starts to like crumble a bit, then there's no reason to play the game. Like, and granted, I know that Fighters has been out for so long, so people would probably have gotten tired of it regardless. But I think the state of the game being where it's at doesn't help it very much. So like, I think that's a whole other aspect too, where a lot of people don't necessarily like think about that. Like they think, oh, I want competitive. Are you even gonna play that shit? Like I think people like say that because they feel like it's a default answer. Like, oh, I want a competitive anime fighter. I want a competitive anime fighter. But like, you still don't know how to 2H a super dash, you know, or type shit. You feel me? Like it's like the most basic, simple shit. Are you sure you want that? Because if we look at numbers, if we look at stats, you know, like it might do well at first. It might do well at first. But in terms of having that longevity, that motion, you know, as long as the support is there, people are going to come back to games like Xenoverse 2, you know? And I think that's why, like, you know, we get Budokai Tenkaichi 4, Sparking Zero, whatever you want to call it, and everybody tweaking, everybody losing their mind because like, oh shit, like this is a successor to like, you know, one of my goats type. Because like there's more to that game than just that competitive aspect. You can get competitive in any game. You know, if you're passionate enough, if you try hard enough, any game can become competitive, but not every game can have that longevity or have that fun factor for a long period of time. And Fighters did have that fun factor for a long period of time, just so we're clear. I mean, that game was relevant for years, you know, and I feel like that's very hard for a fighting game to do. But I think like from a more like casual sense, like more like regular players, I think that's why like if you know hop on Fighters, it might take you a little bit to find a game, you know. And I think another thing too is that's like a little bit off-putting is, you know, when you get on Fighters, like what are you going to play in that game other than online or ranked? Like there's not a lot of single player content for you to do. You know, you can't grind out your character like you can in Xenoverse. You can't do like, you know, you can't do a bunch of cool shit that you can do in like an arena fighter game. That's a lot more casual and has like single player content as well. And it's just like also just not that serious, right? But you get on Fighters and you either are in the training mode or you're fighting somebody online. And not everybody always wants to deal with the pressure of fighting somebody online. Especially if you're hopping into Fighters like today, the dude that you're fighting in Fighters has probably been playing the game for years and probably gonna beat the shit out of you. And that's another barrier to entry for a lot of people. Whereas, you know, you could hop on Xenoverse or you could hop on Tenkaichi and just have fun fighting the computer, because it's not about being competitive. It's not about like, you know, landing your combos and, you know, whiff punishing and, you know, having good spacing or anything like that. It's about shit. I want to go Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta mode real quick and beat Frieza's ass. You know, what would happen if Raditz fought a Cyberman or something? You know, whatever the hell you wanted to do, you can like do that type of shit. And it feels a lot more in tune with like how you want, or like how you want to feel when you're playing a game from your favorite anime, right? So again, just to go back to like the topic at hand that I started this whole video with, right? I feel like anime arena fighters are actually a good thing, and I think that is actually the best genre for most anime games to fall under. They just need to be good games, because strictly speaking, if My Hero One's Justice was a 2D fighter, it would have still been ass because the developers just didn't know how to make a good game. Like, it just is what it is. It would have still been garbage. Jujutsu Kaisen, if it was like a Soul Calibur or like Tekken type game, it still would have been dog shit because the animations are very janky. They didn't really understand like how to make things flow well. There's not a lot of comprehension there to make that game like look or feel great. So no matter what, those games would have been dog shit, whether they were arena fighters or more 2D, 3D fighters, right? I think the hype around competitive games is just because they're actually quality games, but their recent arena fighters are made like fast food. But the thing is, like, I think you're saying that because you haven't played bad fighting games. There are a ton of bad, like, competitive fighting games. But like ArcSys just happened to make a really good one. That's not to say that these other developers that got the keys to these games, maybe if they gave the keys to those games to a more competent 2D fighting game developer, then maybe you'd have more of a point there. But the team that made My Hero One Justice or whatever, I'm sorry, like, I don't care what genre of game they try to make, that shit was gonna suck. You feel what I'm saying? Like, that shit was gonna be ass. I think like it might be a little bit harder to make like a fully fledged 3D arena fighter, but to that same token, if they were to make a 2D competitive fighter, the balance would probably be all out of whack. Like it'd probably be like super scrubby, like and like not only would it be not fun from a competitive standpoint, it also wouldn't have the longevity of like what an arena fighter would actually be able to accomplish. So like, yeah, I feel like there's like this mystification around, you know, competitive anime fighters, but I don't necessarily think that that should be the basis for which most games are created upon. I want more arena fighters because I think the genre is really interesting and there's a lot of cool things you can do. And I think it's a little bit less limiting than like a 2D competitive fighter. I would just like them to just make the games good for once. Shrugged. I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know. Check me out on Twitch, Twitter, all that stuff. Links in the description. Thank you for watching. Subscribe. OmegaPro Plus. We going up.